Josiah. His name meant Yahweh supports. And support him God did. King Josiah, the boy king, ascended to the throne of Judah at 8 years old. 8. Can you imagine a child leading a nation? Yet even as a boy, Josiah showed a heart for God. Josiah inherited a kingdom steeped in idolatry. His grandfather, Manasseh, had led Judah astray, filling the land with pagan altars and practices. But Josiah, even as a young ruler, sought to restore the worship of the one true God. He tore down the idols, cleansed the temple, and reinstituted the sacred festivals of Israel. His reign was a breath of fresh air, a beacon of hope in a kingdom shrouded in spiritual darkness. Josiah, it seemed, was determined to bring his people back to the God of their ancestors, back to the covenant, back to the Passover. Word spread like wildfire throughout Judah. King Josiah, in the 18th year of his reign, had called for a Passover celebration. Not just any Passover, but a celebration like no other, a grand festival to honor the Lord. This was no small feat. The Passover, a central pillar of the Jewish faith, had been largely neglected during the reigns of Josiah's predecessors. Imagine the buzz that must have filled the streets of Jerusalem, the whispers in the marketplaces, the excitement in the homes. The Passover, a time to remember their deliverance from Egypt, their liberation from slavery, their identity as God's chosen people. The king's proclamation was clear: the Passover would be celebrated according to the instructions laid out in the Book of the Law, the very scrolls discovered during the temple's restoration. This Passover would be different, more authentic, a true return to the heart of their faith. The city of Jerusalem bustled with activity. From the cobbled streets to the flat rooftops, preparations for the grand Passover festival were in full swing. Every household, from the humblest dwelling to the most opulent mansion, was swept clean of leaven, a tangible reminder of the need to discard old habits and embrace new beginnings. The aroma of roasting lamb seasoned with bitter herbs and memories wafted through the air, mingling with the sweet fragrance of unleavened bread baking in clay ovens. It was a feast for the senses, a symphony of sights, smells, and sounds that spoke of anticipation and sacred remembrance. The heart of the celebration, the Passover lamb, took center stage. These unblemished year-old lambs, symbols of innocence and sacrifice, were carefully selected and prepared according to the Mosaic law. Their blood, a sign of atonement and protection, would soon be painted on the doorposts, a solemn reminder of God's mercy and deliverance. Central to the Passover preparations were the priests and Levites, the guardians of Israel's spiritual heritage. Dressed in their ceremonial robes, they moved with purpose and reverence, their every action imbued with the weight of their sacred duty. The priests, descendants of Aaron, were entrusted with the sacrificial rituals. They inspected the lambs, ensuring their fitness for sacrifice, and oversaw the meticulous process of slaughter and offering. Their hands, guided by centuries of tradition, performed these sacred tasks with solemnity and precision. The Levites, assistants to the priests, played a vital role in maintaining order and purity during the festival. They oversaw the distribution of the sacrificial portions, ensured the cleanliness of the temple, and guided the crowds of worshippers. Section 5. The Passover Lamb, a symbol of sacrifice. The Passover lamb, the centerpiece of the celebration, was more than just a meal. It was a profound symbol of God's mercy and redemption. Its unblemished state represented purity and innocence, while its sacrifice pointed to the ultimate sacrifice that would one day free humanity from the bondage of sin. As the Israelites partook of the roasted lamb, they were reminded of the blood that spared their ancestors in Egypt. Just as the angel of death had passed over the homes marked with the blood of the lamb, so too would God's judgment pass over those who placed their faith in his promised deliverer. The bitter herbs, eaten alongside the lamb, symbolized the bitterness of slavery and the harsh realities of sin. The unleavened bread, a symbol of purity and haste, reminded them of their ancestors' swift exodus from Egypt, their departure so sudden that there was no time for the bread to rise. Section 6. A nation united in worship. The day of the Passover arrived, a day of joyous celebration and solemn remembrance. From all corners of Judah, people streamed into Jerusalem, their hearts filled with anticipation. Families gathered, neighbors greeted each other with smiles and embraces, and the city, adorned for the festival, throbbed with life. Within the temple courtyard, the Levites, their voices strong and clear, led the assembled crowds in songs of praise and thanksgiving. The air hummed with the melodies of ancient hymns, their words echoing the story of God's faithfulness, His deliverance, and His unwavering love for His people. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the city, the Passover lambs were sacrificed. The priests, their movements precise and reverent, offered the sacrifices according to the Mosaic law, their chants filling the air as the smoke from the altar rose towards the heavens. Section 7. The Shadow of War. Even as Josiah led his people in this unprecedented celebration of Passover, a shadow loomed on the horizon. The Egyptian pharaoh Necho II, seeking to reassert his dominance over the region, was marching north with a powerful army. Josiah, known for his piety and his commitment to God, also possessed a warrior's spirit. He refused to stand idly by as a foreign power threatened his kingdom. Despite warnings and pleas for diplomacy, Josiah decided to confront Pharaoh Necho. Many questioned Josiah's judgment. Why risk his life and the peace of the kingdom in a battle he could not win? Some saw it as arrogance, a tragic miscalculation driven by pride. Others, however, recognized the courage and conviction that fueled Josiah's decision. Section 8. Josiah's Final Battle. At Megiddo, a strategic pass controlling vital trade routes, the two armies clashed. The battle raged, a whirlwind of steel, screams, and the thunder of hooves. Josiah, disguised to avoid becoming a target, fought with the heart of a lion. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. An Egyptian archer, perhaps unaware of the identity of his target, let loose an arrow that found its mark. Josiah, struck down in the heat of battle, was mortally wounded. His horrified soldiers carried their dying king from the battlefield, hoping against hope to save him. But it was too late. Josiah, the king who had led Judah back to God, breathed his last breath, his reign cut tragically short. Section 9. Mourning a Righteous King. News of Josiah's death spread like wildfire, plunging the kingdom into mourning. The joy of the Passover celebration evaporated, replaced by a grief so profound, so universal that it seemed as if the very air hung heavy with sorrow. People wept openly in the streets, their cries echoing through the once joyous city. The weight of their loss, the suddenness of it all was almost unbearable. Josiah, their beloved king, the reformer, the restorer of faith, was gone. His body, brought back to Jerusalem, was laid to rest in a tomb reserved for kings, a final tribute to a ruler who had left an indelible mark on his nation. His death, a tragic echo of the Passover sacrifice, served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the ever-present shadow of sin and its consequences. Section 10. Josiah's Enduring Legacy. Josiah's reign, though tragically cut short, left an enduring legacy. He stands as a testament to the power of one person to make a difference, to steer a nation back to its spiritual moorings. His dedication to God, his zeal for righteousness, and his unwavering commitment to the covenant served as a beacon of hope in a kingdom teetering on the brink of destruction. The Passover celebration he reinstated became a defining moment in his reign, a powerful reminder of God's faithfulness and his unwavering love for his people. Josiah's story reminds us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, even when surrounded by darkness, one person's unwavering faith can ignite a flame that illuminates an entire nation. Josiah's life, though brief, reminds us that God can use anyone, regardless of age or circumstance, to accomplish his purposes. His story, a tapestry woven with threads of faith, courage, and tragedy, continues to inspire and challenge us today.